So here is what SEO looked like before the global lockdown pandemic. And here is what SEOs look like after the global lockdown pandemic.
Please disperse! Nothing to see here!
Hello everyone and welcome to Canonical Chronicle, or should I say the Canonical Chronicle. So to keep up the meme-infused SEO news, I've moved my entire studio to my one-bedroom flat, and for the most part, you know, everything's fine. We're just going to pretend this is completely normal. So, as you may have gathered, there's been absolutely zero SEO news this week. In fact, there has been zero news outside of pandemic this week. So, instead of delivering you some SEO-infused, meme-based news, I'm actually just going to tell you what we've done as an agency and some of the measures we've taken to make sure that everything is okay. So in reverse order, here's what we're going to cover. Personal financial changes that I've made to ensure the long-term success of SEO. And I'm just going to spotlight some of the things I think that leaders are able to recognize. I'm going to talk about how I've communicated to my 20-strong team on what I've done and the kind of measures that I've taken. One is so I don't have to make anyone redundant. I'm going to tell you what's happened with our clients. I'm going to give you some calculations that we've used to work out the security of our business. And I'm also going to read out to you the exact letters and give you the exact resources that we sent to clients and also our teams. And as well as that, we're going to talk about how we're still getting press coverage and how I'm personally coping with the kind of social isolation part of lockdown. Now, my very good friend, a guy called Harry Sanders, he's the CEO of Studio Hawk in Australia, he actually gave me this excellent piece of wisdom. He actually said, don't give advice, just share your experience. And that's exactly what this video is. I'm going to share my experience and tell you what I've done. No advice, just my experience. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, when asked to practice self-isolation and social distancing, most people find it like a real challenge. But when I asked some SEOs on Twitter how they were coping with it, they had this to say.
We are same, but different, but still same.
But we're now a few weeks into self-isolation at Type A Media, and there have been a couple of things that have really helped me, keep sane. One thing in particular is something called the Corona Pub. It's a virtual Zoom conference room run by a guy called Chris Simantz. The pub is open every day at 6 p.m. GMT, and you can access it by going to thecoronapub.com. If you drop by, make sure to please share it on Twitter using the hashtag CoronaPub. I had the pleasure to talk to Chris about it this week. So tell me about the Corona Pub. Why did you start it in the first place?
We SEO nerds aren't as self-isolating in normal circumstances as people are led to believe. So we all like to spend some time with each other, and it stops me climbing the walls myself, and I think everyone else has been feeling the same.
I understand it's been going great guns, you've had quite a few people in. So how long has it been open, and how many patrons do you have usually?
Just over a week now, and I think on a normal night, roughly sort of between 25 and 30 come through the doors, so to speak. But last night was, the night before last was quite amazing. We had people from Melbourne and Central Europe and the UK, and then the west coast of the States as well. So it was almost truly global. It was brilliant.
Amazing stuff. So there's actually going to be a pub quiz that's taking place this Friday, and then one of the SEO penalty experts, Rick Lomas from the community, is actually going to be doing a live stream with his band on Saturday. Some awesome events, really not to be missed. That's thecoronapub.com. So if you're a digital PR, you've probably noticed that all the journalists are kind of talking about the same shit over and over again. And all PRs are literally at home trying to do everything to mirror and match exactly what the journalists want. But I don't know about you, I'm going a little stir crazy.
Waka, 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 waka.
So here's exactly what Type A are doing. Firstly, we're increasing our technical link building output. In particular, we're going to be running more broken link campaigns. These don't really have the same conversion rate as PR, but it's a really good stream of kind of regular links coming into our clients' sites. Another thing we're going to do is something called guest posting. I'm sure you've all kind of heard of that. Don't really need to explain much of it, that's pretty standard. We've also kicked off a historical reclamation project. So Most of our clients have a couple hundred brand mentions with no actual links, so we're just hitting up all those people that have posted about us in the past and we're asking them to update it with a link. Another thing we're doing is something called link repositioning. So we're actually going to all of our clients' social media accounts, doing backlink analysis on that and just reaching out to those webmasters who are linking to the social profiles and saying, do you mind actually just linking to the site instead of our Twitter account? So for all you guys who are like not the kind of SEO link building people and more on the traditional end of PR, you probably want to know what we're doing. So actually there's quite a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. We're seeing quite a few links coming in from trade and also regional press. National's a little bit slower, but we have had some links go live in nationals this week already, and it's only Wednesday. In particular, we've had 6 newspaper links go live for a single client in the food and beverage space, and that's been over the last week or so. So how do we do it? Well, really simply, we just reworked the angles to more kind of like pandemic friendly, and we just pitched them as normal. Now, 2 weeks ago, complete shit show, but it seems to be returning to normal. And when I took to Twitter to ask people, it looks like other people are experiencing that as well. Okay, so next up, how I communicated with my team. So in times of uncertainty, I actually like to turn towards Stoic philosophy, in particular this guy called Epictetus, and he said this: the chief task in life is simply this, to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which externals are under my control and which I do not have choices to actually control. Where then do I look for good and evil? Not to uncontrollable externals, but within myself to the choices that are my own. In other words, we cannot control what is happening, but we can control how we react. Now, as a leader in a time of doubt and worry, you need to remove doubt and worry from your team by over-communicating, creating a plan and then executing it forcefully. So this is the exact letter that I wrote to my team and I then read it out to them during a Zoom call. The virus has a heavy initial effect on business, with many clients asking to pause or cancel outright. In particular, we're on track to lose X amount in monthly billings with an annual contract value of X amount. That's almost a certain percentage of our business to be written off immediately with no reduction in outgoings or costs. Our worst case scenario is to go out of business by month. If all predicted clients cancel, if we do not take extreme measures to keep our head above the water. It's more important now than ever to double down and support our clients and work as hard as possible to give them the results they need and deserve. It's also more important than ever to cut costs as much as possible and use as much government aid to get through this tough time. Before I go into the new measures, I'd like to reassure everyone on this call they will not be getting made redundant. We made a commitment to you and have always handled company finances for longevity and job security for all consultants. So I'm going to talk about what we can do with some government assistance and cost cutting, as well as some actions we're going to take to increase revenue and build the business to a more dominant place for when people start coming back to us. I then went through things like furlough, business relief, VAT relief, corporation taxes and things like that. But nice big upfront statements reassuring everyone nothing bad will happen. We got this, don't worry. Next up, what should you do if clients start cancelling? So firstly, if some clients are in like travel or events and they're cancelling, fair enough. Even if you've got a 12-month contract with these people, try enforcing it if they're going out of business and don't have money. It's totally pointless and you're only adding misery onto their very challenging situation they've already got. Now, Type A are in a very fortunate position. We work with a bunch of large brands who are not cancelling, and the UK government has put a measure in place that makes it easier for us to retain our staff, regardless of things like payment holidays and pausing from clients. However, for any clients that are pulling back marketing spend, here's the 2 things that I've done in order to make their lives easier. The first one's a bit extreme. I've reduced our rates down so they just pay for our team's salary. That means the client pays the exact cost of the salary of the person inside our agency that's doing their work, keeps our people employed, and it keeps them working on their account. Yes, we do lose out short term, we don't make any money, but we do get to retain the client and also retain our staff, and at this point, retention is the most important thing. So another one is pausing accounts and then tacking it on to the end of their contract. So as people start to live this kind of new normal, a lot of businesses are going to recover. So what we're actually doing is giving holiday payments and extending the client contract. So this way we experience like a little short-term cash flow bump, but we don't lose any clients. We also support the clients to make sure that they're going to survive. So what we've done is also double down on our current clients and introduce brand new measures that can guarantee they come out of this pandemic in a much stronger position. So here is the exact letter that I sent to the clients this week. At Type A, we're already 100% online from our files to our communication to project management. This has made the transition to working from home relatively seamless. However, I know that it's not quite as simple for your business, therefore I've put together a plan to help us make the most of the next 90 days while the UK practices social distancing. So we then go and talk about the change in search behaviour in the media landscape. There's two major considerations from an SEO point of view. Number one, people are temporarily buying and searching differently. No shit. And the news and media cycles are dominated by CVID stories, and the population's feelings and perceptions are changing. So how does it affect the work we do? In SEO, we want to get a better understanding of the keywords that are driving demand, so we can quickly rank them for your site. Therefore, conducting new keyword research, creating new landing pages to make sure that we actually win you these new customers. We're also reviewing all top competitors to make sure we're doing significant things to dilute what they're doing and make sure you stay on top of them. So with PR, the media landscape is changing and journalists are being asked to write more CVID stories as well as their regular day jobs. Therefore, they're going to be a bit slower to respond. This may mean we need to change some headlines or some angles to make sure the stories have more of a feel-good element to them. I personally have been on a bunch of media briefings with UK editors, and they said that they're absolutely dying for any feel-good story about Corona, if you have it. Okay, we then went to talk about how we're going to bolster their link building activity. So we said we're going to do broken link building and backlink analysis and reclamation. Confirm we're not changing the strategy, this is just a booster. And we then asked the question, how will this affect the results my business receives? Now, instead of plastering over that with some bullshit agency response, I just said, we don't know. But as the economy starts to shift and people start to live in their new normal, we will have a better understanding. But until then, we're going to do whatever we can to maximize the value of your website to your business. And then I laid out a bunch of new deliverables and new planning for them so we can make the most of what's about to happen. Okay, so lastly, some personal measures that I've taken as the owner of the agency. So as the owner, I take a salary and a dividend each month. So to add increased security to the team's wages, I've taken a penalty on my pension, I've cashed it out. I've liquidated all my stocks and moved all my savings into cash. Now I've got between 6 and 9 months of money that I can just live on, and I don't need to take anything out of the company. All the cash that we've got has been reserved for my team's salary and also paying all of our commitments to all of our suppliers. So it's not an ideal time to do this because obviously the stock market is in the gutter, but I'm really confident that we can kind of rebuild all this and come back stronger than ever once everything calms down. And the funny thing is, like, the agency's actually on course to have our best month ever. However, I'm a very conservative leader, and my kind of MO is to take, all of those that are dedicating themselves to our business and make sure I take care of them. So that means the clients get the best work they can and everyone that works with us stays employed. So whatever's happening in your world, whether you're freelance or agency or in-house, take some time, take a moment to build up a new strategy and take into consideration some new measures you can take to increase security in your life and just have some faith in your own ability to see this through. I hope you're all adjusting well to working from home. I hope everything is going great. If you liked this video, please do hit the like button. If you loved it, please do subscribe. And until next time, we will see you later. Or in the Corona pub, 6 p.m. See you there.